I don't watch YouTube anymore. Haven't watched cable news in a decade. I feel I know more about what's going on in the world and the direction the world is heading and the things that need to be done to correct our misdirection than anyone else I know, because I get my news from alternate sources. There's a few things that have developed in my experience over the last few years. And there's one hard rule I have when it comes to consuming information about what's going on in the world. And it's really quite simply stated. If your news has advertising in it, it's not news, it's propaganda. Pure and simple every time. And YouTube is now funded by advertising. So there's the difference. A year ago, they weren't. YouTube purging all those people from their roles, all those artists and performers and commentators from their ranks, was done on purpose to make way for advertisers. So that's why there's no difference between them and MSNBC. So again, if your news has advertising in it, it's not advertising. So it's subscriber paid. There's no advertising. And that's the model you must use if you want a free flow of information. I almost said the honest truth, but that's not the case, because nobody knows the truth fully and completely. But a free flow of information is there on Rokfin. And for my personal filters, I have a couple of filters when I'm watching Rokfin. If I tune into a channel that I haven't seen before and they use the word they more than 3 times in 1 minute, I change the channel. Because if they want to manipulate us by doing this, and they've actually put up this, I'm mocking a presenter at the moment, and so they want us to do this, and they want to control our lives, and they're putting up, you see. So if somebody's speaking in that manner, they probably don't know what they're talking about, and that's what I use as a filter. Now, going back to TC's question earlier on, how is it that I think you were asking what I've learned from the last few years? I've been handed 2 gifts over the last few years. 2 years ago, it was casting off fear. Be not afraid, because you cannot be honest and truthful if you're afraid. You cannot interact with other human beings when you're afraid. It is fear that took the population of the world and drove them underground for a year with the COVID response. That's a subject we won't get into today, but that was not about health and safety. That was all about fear. So don't be afraid. It's easy to say because we all have fear at one level or another. I fear being judged and found wanting. That's my deepest fear.
Yes.
Then this past year, I learned not to hate.
Yeah.
That we are all in this together, and we all get where we want to be together, or we don't get there at all. So hate must go away. It's got to fall off. We're taught to hate. We're trained to hate, specifically by CNN and MSNBC and Fox. We're trained to hate by absorbing that media. And that's on purpose, I think, to keep people divided so that they do not rise up against the people who are controlling the levers of their government and return the government to the work of the people. It's fear, it's that division, it's the fear and the hatred that keep us from moving forward. And so those are the 2 things I rely on at this point. Does that help?